Hello, everyone. The name of my speech is called Finding My Way. This speech is going to tell a story about how I fell in love with computers at a very young age, and this same love led me to choosing a career in information technology. At the age of 35, I decided to go back to school to pursue a career in information technology. 10 years later, I still love what I'm doing. My name is Cherie Smith, and I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. As a divorcee, I decided to go back to school to make a better life for me and my children. Now I'm 45 and I'm just realizing that I honestly love the career path I've chosen over 10 years ago. Who would have ever thought that the Commodore 64 that my father brought me on Christmas Day in 1984 would become my first love and catapult me into the IT industry. From the first day that I powered that Commodore 64 on, I knew that I wanted to study computer science and I wanted to find out how computers really worked, what made them tick, what made them go. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with a game called Oregon Trail, but with Oregon Trail, that was my favorite game that I played on the Commodore 64. I played it every day. And this game was about making decisions. So the game would ask you certain questions. And according to your responses, it would tell if you would eat one day, if you would run out of money, if you would be able to buy medication, and also if you would die. And it was a game that journeyed on the Oregon Trail. This game really sparked my interest even the more as to how computers worked. Also, having that Commodore 64, my curiosity was spiked. So one day I decided to take my computer apart. I opened up the tower and I took out every component from the motherboard to the power supply. I took it all apart and I did not pay attention as to how I was taking it apart. So I didn't know how to put it back together. By the time that my father found out, he was very upset with me. He put me on a 30-day punishment. And with the punishment, he called the technician over to put the computer back together. And I had to sit there and watch this technician put my computer back together. And I couldn't even help him. My first job in the IT field was a job that I had 4 months after I started school at ITT Technical Institute. At this job, I was on the help desk. I was taking phone calls. I was also making tickets. We had to troubleshoot cash registers in grocery stores, in clothing stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. We had to troubleshoot all these computers inside of these cash registers. With this, it reminded me of my first job as an amateur technician, I called myself. I worked at McDonald's at the age of 14. There, I was the head cashier, and I was also a true trainer. Also, the one thing that I loved, I was troubleshooting the computers inside of the cash registers. My boss knew my interest of computers because we talked about it in my interview. So she allowed me to do the minor troubleshooting issues. One example, if the computer froze, I would just reboot the computer and it would come back up. I can also tell you about at this same McDonald's job how my love for computers got me in trouble once again. I was coming into work one day and I noticed that the cash registers were frozen across the front. The lobby was pretty empty, so it wasn't a lot of customers in there, but the computers were still froze. So I went around to the computer and I tried to clock in. I was unable to clock in. So my first thought process, it went into troubleshooting mode. I turned off the system that controlled the computers, causing the whole computer system to crash. What I didn't know though was the IT department was running a quick update to stop the freezing, and they explained to my managers not to cut the computers off. So again, here I am in trouble again. I rebooted the system. It caused everything to crash. My boss called me in her office and she told me that I could no longer troubleshoot the computers. She pulled me off the register and put me on lobby attending, where I had to wipe tables and sweep and clean up after customers and parking lot attending. This demotion in itself was very humiliating. It taught me that I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. And my days of troubleshooting at McDonald's was over. The only other interest that I had that was a family tradition of mine, I came from a family of nurses. So that was the only other thing that I thought I might like doing, but I wasn't sure. And this brought me to a point where I was faced with choosing to carry on the family tradition of becoming a nurse or choosing my passion, which was computers. Which career path would I choose? It was a very tough decision. Even though nursing was a family tradition, it just wasn't my passion. So of course I decided to go with my love for computers and to pursue a career in computers. The first step was going back to school to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with computers. I didn't know how I would do in the field, so it was a little scary. I wasn't sure if the stories that my aunts told me about being a nurse would even keep my interest in nursing. So this is why I decided to do the computers. I knew that choosing my passion, it was going to be challenging because it was the technical aspect of computing I didn't know nothing about. I had minor troubleshooting, but the real deal of how computer works, I knew it would be challenging to learn all the different computer terminology. I knew it was going to be exciting. It was going to increase my growth and knowledge in computers. Also, with choosing this path, I had to choose the right college. And in choosing the correct college, I needed to find out what college was going to help me narrow down my focus on computers. While my goal was evident, I still was unsure of how I would do as a computer professional. I knew that I needed to earn my bachelor's degree, and I knew it was going to be a step in the right direction. Having my degree in hand meant that my credibility would be boosted, and it also meant that I would have gained the latest hardware and software technology. It would also put me a step ahead, and it would validate my experience. And lastly, it would increase my chances of getting hired. IT Technical Institute was my choice, my school of choice at 35. I pursued my associate's degree in information technology, computer networking systems, where I graduated with a 3.81 GPA. Now moving on to Herzing, where I'm pursuing a bachelor's degree in information technology. This has been such a rewarding experience for me. I've been able to take classes such as Python programming, Cisco routing and wireless technology. I've also been able to take a class in network security. I have also been maintaining a 4.0 GPA, which I'm very proud of. And just in wrapping everything up, above all, pursuing these degrees has helped me to understand that you will be a lot happier when you choose a career doing what you love. And this concludes my speech. I hope you enjoy. Are there any questions?